think that the things that we're talking about now, the things that will need to be changed and have to be changed.
I think the name on everyone's minds tonight is Breonna Taylor.
Protesters have been out every day downtown for 118 straight days.
We continue to follow breaking news in Frankfurt.
Despite expecting more cases, the threat to Kentuckians is still low.
How can we help our customers? How can we still pay our bills?
So many people here just wanted to know why some of these measures weren't taken sooner.
I was really hopeful for that mine would be one of the ones that they were able to fix.
If you're really trying to help the people, you don't do that. These people should already have this should not be going on at all.
No justice, no peace.
The Black Lives Matter movement brought its fight to Frankfurt today.
Say my name.
And Breonna Taylor's name was heard loud and clear.
This protest is being intentionally held here at the Capitol because inside of this building is the office of Kentucky's Attorney General, and this crowd wants him to take action. They're calling for justice for Breonna. They want the Attorney General to arrest and charge the officers involved in her death.
If there's nothing else that we do, we are committed to getting justice for Breonna Taylor.
Hollywood stars like Jada Pinkett Smith and Common traveled to Kentucky to encourage people to keep fighting for change.
This criminal justice system, that's all targeted for us. What the police are doing, that's all from slavery to the Reconstruction era, to the Jim Crow, to mass incarceration. And what the police are doing, they've been trying to keep us as second-class citizens for so long.
The crowd also heard from Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker. He was there the night Louisville Metro Police used a no-knock warrant and entered Breonna's apartment.
I know you ain't heard a lot from me, if anything, but I just want to let y'all know I appreciate all the love and support for me and most definitely for Breonna. She would appreciate it too.
And Breonna's mom, Tamika Palmer, thanked everyone for fighting for her daughter.
Without y'all, I swear, without all these people, I don't know where I'd be at right now, at home crying still by myself with my daughter.
Palmer also revealed this sign to the crowd. She says it's a gift to all of the state leaders, a gift with a message.
Know that Breonna's life mattered, and y'all being out here showing support shows that her life mattered. And we not done until they know that her life mattered.
And today, they made sure Kentucky's leaders got that message. In Frankfurt, Carolina Buchek, LEX-18 News.
In the archives at LEX-18 are memories of Anita Franklin, a Lexington mom turned community activist.
People ask me, when am I going to stop doing this? And my answer remains the same: when the crime stops. We realize that we got to do something. We got to do something. One murder is one too many, and we've had 10.
We first met Anita during her darkest moments, after her 21-year-old son Antonio was shot and killed in a park in 2014. Police said he was hit by random gunfire.
Tony is gone. He's in heaven right now, so we just want to make sure that no one has to feel the way I feel.
Even through her grief, she found it within herself to show grace to her son's killers.
After today and watching him, I do forgive Damian, and I want him to do better.
And she wanted our elected officials to do better. Her grief morphed into activism. She joined Moms Demand Action in her push to end gun violence.
You have messed with the wrong mom this time.
Last summer, Anita delivered a petition to Senator Mitch McConnell's office calling for common sense gun reform. And before she garnered national attention, she was one of the most recognizable figures in Lexington, organizing an annual March for Peace in the very park where her son was killed.
We want them to know they need to live in peace, so they don't have to say rest in peace.
She was passionate. She spoke from the heart, and I think that's why she was so effective, because she gave the survivors, the victims, a voice.
What I'm trying to do is encourage other people to talk about what's happened to them, to take back their streets, take back their community.
Her fight may have been cut short, but her message will almost certainly live on. In Lexington, Mike Valenti, LEX-18 News.
September 7th, we're playing Eastern Michigan. It's third quarter.
Grabbed him by the back of the jersey right above the number 3, and Terry is still down.
It was just like slow motion in the air, and once I hit the ground, I just knew that something wasn't going to something wasn't right. My knee wasn't feeling right.
This was the night time froze at Kroger Field. Wilson down, holding his knee, before being carted off of the field.
And now everybody just waits and holds their collective breath in Big Blue Nation that Terry Wilson is going to be okay.
He was not. Terry tore his patellar tendon, which sidelined him for the remainder of the season. After that, the Cats had to adjust to a new offense. And Terry had to adjust to a situation he's never dealt with, and it wasn't easy.
The thing about, being injured and what I didn't know, the biggest thing is, just having that mentality that you need to have to be able to, keep pushing through the hard times. For myself, I've never been, injured and sat out a whole year and, had to get surgery. So it was just something to get used to, just going through that and being sidelined and just being away from the team, being away from my coaches, and just having the fun that we usually have, it was tough for me.
Of course, Terry pushed forward, and thanks to social media, we were able to slightly follow Terry's journey as he posted videos of his workouts. Rehab went well, and Terry was slowly making his way back to the football field, where he anticipated a normal comeback for the 2020 season.
Dominoes are starting to fall in a direction that there might not be a college football season this fall.
It means that college football is blowing up before our eyes. The pressure is building on this season going down the drain.
The coronavirus put the sports world on hold, giving Terry plenty to think about. Because about a month before the pandemic hit, Terry found out that he was going to be a father. His baby girl actually arrived in this world just over a couple of weeks ago. So when the SEC decided to have a season, Terry had a lot on his mind. He even sent out a tweet hinting at the possibility of opting out of the season to protect his new family.
I'd be lying if I said, I wasn't going to. I wasn't thinking about it. That was the first thing that came to my mind was, how are we going to pull this off? It's a pandemic going on, and I have a newborn on the way, and it was just a lot to think about, at the time.
Well, he decided to be all in for his final season as a Wildcat. He says he feels 100% and that this fall camp has been a success for him personally.
I'd have to say this is my best camp so far. I feel like I'm more accurate. The ball's coming out of my hands pretty fast, and I'm just confident. Confident in my game, and I feel like I'm ready to go. If we had to play tomorrow, I'm ready to play tomorrow.
Well, he only has one more week, where he'll run out of the tunnel with his teammates for the first time since that September night of 2019.
It's going to be a relief. It's going to be a relief just to be able to go back out there and play. This is something that I've been waiting for, since the injury. Really just that's been my focus on getting back out there on the field. So it might be a little butterflies, but nothing too crazy. It's not my first rodeo. It's not my first game.
For BBN Game Day, I'm Eli Gain.
If you don't know what white privilege is, or aren't sure if you've ever witnessed or experienced it, it's not your fault. It's probably just because you're white.
You asked me earlier this morning if I ever saw examples of white privilege out there, and the truth is I didn't. I couldn't come up with anything that I could readily speak to off the top of my head.
There's a reason for that, and this former Lexington detective hit it on the head.
And that may be something that I just am not very perceptive to because I'm white, and as a result, you could call that privilege in and of itself.
You could call that the very definition of it. Sarah Fahim runs a foundation called We Run with Wolves, which offers personal and corporate empathy training.
White privilege is one of the most enduring forms of privilege.
Sarah endured it in a different manner than most. Her father is Egyptian.
And he's a very dark-skinned man, and so he got pulled over often for that. He got asked questions about how he was raising me.
Questioning him for no other reason than having much darker skin than his daughter. White privilege can come in all forms and fashion, even inside the corner drugstore.
And pick up a prescription or toothpaste and tell the cashier that I don't need a receipt or a bag. I think my siblings of color have been trained their whole lives to get that receipt in that bag because they will be asked if they've stolen something.
Much the way Sarah's father was questioned about his daughter, gave her a deep understanding of the privilege from both spectrums.
People live an existence that is so completely different from yours, you don't actually believe it's happening.
Dr. Mark McCoy at SMU in Dallas, Texas agrees.
You know, it's like fish in water. Fish don't notice that they're in water.
Dr. McCoy got a glimpse into white privilege 2 decades ago. He tweeted about being arrested for accidentally passing a counterfeit bill from an ATM. George Floyd was accused of the same. That tweet garnered more than 2 million likes, and McCoy was asked by Newsweek magazine to write about the experience.
I don't think it says anything about the moral character of people who don't notice their own white privilege. That's understandable. But we've got a lot of tools now.
And as we know, tools can be used to fix things.
White privilege is certainly a barrier to realizing Dr. King's dream. But as I always say, the ultimate issue is a lack of common memory.
And white people do not have that common thread, never will. But maybe for the first time, we have a real and honest good start.
The vast majority of people who have interacted with that message have been positive.
Positivity is one thing. What we really need is understanding, recognition.
Most white people don't believe in the history.
Most white people don't even believe in the privilege.
It means that your hardships and the way that you have suffered is not because of the color of your skin.
I am very well aware of what kinds of advantages I have in the world.
2 men, 1 white, 1 black, accused of the same crime. One was just published in Newsweek. The other was eulogized yesterday. You needn't know the whole story to know which was which. That too is white privilege. Michael Burke for Evening Edition.
After a robbery or murder, detectives search for clues, any kind of physical evidence like fingerprints, hair, and shell casings to build a solid case for court. When it comes to rape and sexual assault, the so-called frontline medical detectives are sexual assault nurse examiners, known as SANEs, who treat every case like a crime scene, with psychological support a priority.
The best cases are the ones that had a sexual assault nurse examiner involved.
Prosecutors like Fayette County Commonwealth's attorney Luana Redcorn say SANEs are vital to the victim from beginning to end. If the patient chooses to prosecute, SANEs are ready to testify.
That's the beauty of a sexual assault nurse examiner. First of all, they're trained in the forensic collection of the evidence, and they're a medical person. They have compassion.
Kentucky law requires emergency rooms to conduct sexual assault forensic exams. The problem for victims, says SANE nurse instructor Carrie Jackson, is most hospitals don't have full-time, around-the-clock SANEs who specialize in the forensic collection of evidence. So victims may have to wait long periods to see one if they see a SANE at all or are told to go elsewhere.
They go to one hospital, they say, no, you should go to this hospital. They have people who are trained there. They go to that hospital and they turn them away as well. I think in some way they think they're doing the right thing by sending them someplace else that they think can give better care.
According to the Cabinet for Health and Family Services, only 7 out of 78 Kentucky hospitals with emergency rooms are deemed SANE ready with 24/7 coverage. Lexington hospitals are not on the list.
The response to a victim is so much improved with a sexual assault nurse examiner.
Eileen Rechtenwald of the Kentucky Association of Sexual Assault Programs, known as KSAP, says doctors, physician assistants, and nurse practitioners can do sexual assault exams, but tells us they're sometimes hesitant and may not have the 3 hours or more needed or the knowledge to do an in-depth head-to-toe forensic examination.
The doctors haven't had the evidence collection protocol, so they don't know what to do.
It's about preserving that evidence.
And it could be that they collect the evidence, and if they didn't do it correctly, it could not produce any results.
Rape survivor Hillary Sykes never made it to the hospital. She went to her gynecologist instead, who she says didn't collect any evidence.
Was told by the people there that it had been too long. It had just been 9 hours. So that was obviously not correct.
Victims have up to 4 days to get a forensic medical exam. By the time Sykes got the courage to press charges months later, she says it was too late. She wishes she had known about SANES and her legal right to get a forensic medical exam at a hospital.
Getting the evidence would have been 100% the best thing to help with the trial. I mean, it's hard enough to get a conviction, and just having images of the bruising. I mean, there was no photos taken of me. There was, you know.
So your rapist walked?
Pretty much. He, yeah, didn't get charged with rape.
For Sykes, knowledge is power. She's on the Attorney General's Survivors Council to empower and educate others.
If you're going through that, you need to stop them and say, this is the law, and you need to do a rape kit. Stand up for yourself. That's one thing I really wish I realized being younger when this happened, was you have to be your own advocate.
And advocates like Eileen Rechtenwald say the medical community has some catching up to do.
A lot of people never even heard of a SANE, even hospitals haven't. They don't teach it in nursing school or medical school.
How is that possible?
I think that folks don't really realize how much sexual assault happens.
Here's a number that should sink in. Rechtenwald, the director of KSAP, says in Kentucky alone, 47% of the population of women are sexually assaulted before they turn 18. That's nearly 1 out of every 2 females. In Kentucky, sexual assault is touching someone in an unwanted or offensive way.
That's almost half.
Yeah, that's scary.
Though only 7 Kentucky hospitals with ERs are SANE ready with 24/7 coverage, we wanted to see how hospitals in our area stack up. We learned UK has 5 sexual assault nurse examiners that work under contract by Lexington Police. According to a police spokeswoman, the department's program sees 60 to 80 cases a year. LifePoint Health, which owns hospitals in Versailles, Georgetown, Paris, and Winchester, reported 5 SANE nurses who cover the 4 counties. And Ephraim McDowell, which runs hospitals in Harrodsburg, Danville, and Stanford, has 1 certified SANE nurse to cover 3 hospitals, with 4 nurses signed up for training, says a spokesman.
Doing a SANE exam is not something that is a financial boon to a hospital. In my mind, it's a community service.
Prosecutor Luanna Redcorn believes victims get better emotional and mental care with SANES and more convictions.
When a patient chooses to prosecute a crime, we end up with better evidence.
Survivor Hillary Sykes says it's time more hospitals prioritize SANE nurses.
You're going through something so hard, it needs to be given the full attention that it deserves. It's evidence of a crime. It's against the law to turn people away. There's more that can be done.
The University of Kentucky is wrapping up its first full week of classes, and we wanted to see how students felt about these first few days back. So we drove to campus to see what they have to say. We posed the question, how did your first week of classes go? And students walked up to the mic to speak their minds.
How did my first week of classes go? They went really well.
This week was pretty crazy, but meeting new people and trying to make the most of it.
Many gave the week a big thumbs up.
My first week of classes went really well. They went surprisingly smoothly.
I think my first week of classes went pretty well.
But almost everyone we talked to said they're struggling to adapt to online courses.
I was super nervous.
Which have drastically changed the university experience.
It was super weird.
I wasn't expecting most really hybrid classes, but I'm kind of glad that I'm here now and not just stuck in my room, so I'll just take what I can get.
And with more virtual courses comes fewer students on campus.
I would have preferred that campus be more lively.
Several also praised UK for the work it's done to make sure the semester goes smoothly.
It's been pretty great so far. UK is doing a great job of keeping us safe.
I think UK is actually doing a really good job of keeping everything organized in this really weird time.
Overall, the responses were fairly positive. Students said that they're excited to be back on campus again, but they are hoping that things will go back to normal soon. In Lexington, Kristen Edwards, WLEX-18 News.
For many black families, the talk comes very early. Moms and dads explaining to their children what they need to know if they're pulled over by police. It's a real talk about how they should act and what they should or should not say. As Kristen Edwards reports, it's a conversation that is passed on from generation to the next.
It's unfortunate that it has to be a thing. It really is.
Joseph Dix had the talk with his father at 5 years old. It was the first time he was told that police may treat him unfairly simply because he's a black man in America.
You gotta use self-control at all times. One thing my dad always said, and don't pop off at the mouth, and just remain calm.
As he got older, those lessons felt more real, especially when he saw his dad get pulled over for the first time.
But he said, son, when a situation like this happen, he says, just do what I do. You stop, okay? He says, you turn the car off, you put the keys on the dashboard, you put your hands on the steering wheel, and you just be respectful to the cops. When they pull you over, it's not always for the right reasons, but don't give them any extra ammunition to use this type of force.
Now, as an uncle, he's helping to teach his nephew the same lesson, that being black means he has to be overly cautious around officers.
As a black man, I'm automatically seen as more suspicious or more criminal. So they're already on edge when they approach my car. So I need to do my best to stay in character, keep myself at ease, calm, make sure that I don't do anything that might, set them off.
Dix says he hopes one day the talk will no longer be necessary.
We wish that we didn't have to have them, but we do.
But understands that may never come to fruition. Kristen Edwards, WLEX-18 News.
I can't work, I can't eat, I can't stay at home, I can't drive my car, I can't do anything. I can't do anything.
For more than a month, Nina Mason has been in hiding, afraid of what could happen next.
I'm scared.
Understandably so. Here's a glimpse of what she says has been a living nightmare. Her car vandalized with spray paint and her tires cut 4 separate times.
I feel like slashing of the tires is just the beginning.
Mason says it all began October 29th when she left her job in Lexington and reported to police she found her car covered in orange spray paint, her tires slashed beyond repair. The same day, she tells me she came home to Winchester and found this. Her entire apartment doused in bleach.
I don't deserve this.
In this report taken by the Clark County Sheriff's Office, a deputy documented damage to 2 couches and a love seat, as well as damage to radios, TVs, VCRs, and other electronics. In the report's narrative, the deputy wrote that Mason told him someone she knew poured bleach on all her furniture, bedding, and clothing, and punched holes in both of her large-screen TVs.
I have no clothes, no furniture, no TVs, and everything. Everything is gone.
After filing police reports in Lexington and Winchester, Mason got this court-issued domestic violence order ordering her ex-boyfriend to stay away. No contact, period.
Every time I hear a noise, I think it's him outside.
On November 18th, Mason says she told the Clark County Sheriff's Office and the county attorney that her tires were vandalized again, this time outside her Winchester apartment.
I'm scared I'm going to die.
In a report taken by another sheriff's deputy, Mason alleged that her ex could have caused the damage. She says earlier that morning, a neighbor's camera caught this video of someone walking to her car, bending down near her tires. And 2 nights later at her apartment, Mason claims the neighbor's camera captured a person walking to her car again and hovering around the sides of it. She filed another police report alleging the same individual slashed all 4 tires on her silver 2017 Toyota Camry. No one has been charged in either incident.
I don't understand why I can't get any help, why I have to keep paying for tires.
Mason thought for sure the first video from her neighbor's camera would convince authorities she was in danger, but says the Clark County attorney told her the video wasn't clear enough to identify the person. No charges were filed. We asked him about it.
I still have guidelines and protocol to follow. I can't tell from looking at the video, even really and truly, I couldn't say for sure that I know the gender of the person portrayed in the video.
We also talked to Clark County Sheriff Burl Perdue, who told us the cases are still open. He said he considers Mason's ex a person of interest.
I can't keep doing this. I can't live like this.
On the early morning of November 25th, the day before Thanksgiving, Nina Mason texted me these pictures, telling me that her tires had been vandalized again here at her job in Lexington. She was afraid. She didn't know what to do. She asked us to help her.
She said her company's security system caught it on camera.
All 4 of my tires are flat again. I was like, oh no, not again.
We called the Clark County Sheriff's Office to tell them Mason was afraid for her safety and had questions ourselves about the domestic violence order against her ex. A deputy looked into the matter, and so did we. According to court records, the county attorney's office had already prepared this arrest warrant on her ex-boyfriend for violating the DVO. It was generated on November 23rd, but had not been served.
And then on the 25th of November, I think you called Detective Aaron Matthews in the Clark County Sheriff's Department and asked him why this warrant hadn't been served. At some point in time, that led to a call to the Scott County Sheriff's.
November 25th, Scott County deputies arrested Edward Davis at his job on a warrant for violating the domestic violence order. According to the warrant, Davis violated the no contact order when he allegedly sent a threatening text to the victim and was alleged to have damaged Mason's property. Clark County Attorney William Elkins told me the damage pertains to the tire slashing at her home the first time. The violation is a misdemeanor. Davis paid a $2,500 bond and was released from jail the same day.
I am fearful. I have never, ever experienced anything in my life like this.
On December 10th, Edward Davis was arrested again, this time on 3 warrants in Lexington, connected to the 2 alleged vandalism incidents at Mason's job. Police charged him with 2 counts of criminal mischief and 1 count of violating the domestic violence order. According to the arrest warrants, on both occasions, the same suspect was seen on video surveillance near Mason's vehicle when it was vandalized. In the tire slashing on November 25th, the officer wrote the video surveillance system showed the suspect pull into the parking lot a few minutes after Mason arrives. It goes on to say the suspect was seen getting out of his vehicle and walking to Mason's vehicle, and after being by her car 15 to 30 seconds, he leaves the parking lot. After his second arrest on December 10th, Davis bonded out of jail the next day after someone posted his $5,000 cash bond. After first declining to speak with me, Edward Davis changed his mind and later told me over the phone he had nothing to do with vandalism of Mason's property. He called her a scorned woman who was trying to set him up and vows to clear his name in court.
I don't bother anybody. I just go to work and I go home.
As for Nina Mason, she says she'll continue living in hiding, wondering what could happen next.
I can't keep doing this. I can't live like this. Why should I? Why should I have to live like this?
Lee Searcy, Evening Edition.
Autumn in the Bluegrass.
We are the small town escape for your soul.
A sight to behold as the leaves change across horse country. Less than 45 minutes from the heart of downtown Lexington.
We have had visitors from all over Kentucky, people just getting in their car and traveling to small towns.
Lies Cynthiana, a close-knit community of less than 10,000. The inspiration for the Walking Dead comic, the hometown of Coach Joe B. Hall, and the first place COVID-19 was detected in Kentucky.
They have been at the table working hand in hand with us and providing every detail that we have needed.
Standing by Governor Andy Beshear in those first briefings was Wedco District Health Department Director Dr. Crystal Miller.
They were scared, very much unsure of what this was going to look like.
Harrison County schools immediately shut down, businesses closed up, and restaurants had to quickly restructure.
So our delivery and takeout sales have went from last year at this time from 5 to 7% up to 28 to 32%.
Right now, about 67% of my business is curbside and takeout. And last year at this time, it was 25%.
There were many questions at the time, so Carrie Rydell made the decision to temporarily close up Burley Market and Cafe for a few weeks to find some answers.
How can we help our customers? How can we still pay our bills? And it was really the smartest thing to do.
The cafe did bounce back from the shutdown, along with other dining rooms and businesses along Cynthiana's downtown streets.
We really weren't worried about losing businesses because our community support is so close-knit. We all support each other, and it was almost like we gravitated together to see how we could all get through this together.
So this is where it all started and where it all happens.
Inside the health department,
And you're over the age of 18?
contact tracers are working 12-hour days, 6 days a week.
They make contact with the positive case. They roll their life back 14 days. And then they make contact with where they've been.
Right now, Dr. Miller says she's especially working with Harrison County schools on internal contact tracing as students return to the classroom.
So when we get positives in the school, whether it's a student or a staff member, that school system works directly with us on contact tracing. So we're making sure all protocols are being met internally.
Eastside Elementary recently welcomed students back inside the building for the first time in more than 7 months.
To have students in our building feels amazing. They want to be here. They're complying with everything we ask them to, and so they are enjoying being back as well. So we're just blessed to have them back.
Principal Melissa Miles says the school released a detailed plan upon return.
What the restroom breaks look like, what lunch looks like, what car dismissal looks like.
And showed us the evidence through the halls and classrooms that encourage social distancing and mask compliance, signs that they are taking the risk of returning seriously. Shuffling back to downtown Cynthiana, where the kitchen at Bianchi's restaurant is bustling, even if the customers are not always inside.
We're actually seeing a little bit of a uptick in customers coming out.
The business dates back to the late 1800s, and the owner says that they're continuing to evolve with the times.
We wipe all the menus, we put them in different locations, wipe them before we put them back at the tables. We sanitize all the tables. It's sort of become a normal practice now, and that kind of thing, honestly, will probably stay forever, even after the pandemic's over.
For the town that experienced the new normal first in Kentucky, the end of the pandemic can feel far away. But Carrie Rydell cannot wait to see Cynthiana's future from her restaurant window.
This is my little corner of happiness. I love Cynthiana. My staff loves Cynthiana. We just want to see everybody through this really hard time so that we have really good stories to tell later on.
Somebody asked me the other day, why are you going to do this during this pandemic? I said, well, buddy, you tell me why not? Why not? And I said, we're going to make it brighter and more shiny, more glamour, more clear. It's going to float like a marshmallow.
But we started with our first grandchild, Ashley, and the excitement for that little girl, we thought, man, we need to really start doing this for all the other little kids. And so that's what started 28 years ago, and we've been doing it every year since.
Of course, every year with LED lights, it makes things a little bit easier, and it doesn't blow up our service as bad. So anyway, but we've added and added and added.
And you did a beautiful job doing it.
Yeah. Now, she does the inside, and it takes, of course, a lot of bucket trucks. It takes about 650 hours. And you take 4 guys, 50 hours a week, times 3.5 weeks. And Santa Claus here is the one who helps put up the lights every year. So, so he's here tonight visiting us and so forth. Every night, I think
Thursday to Sunday.
To Sunday,
Santa
he's always
will come
visiting
to
us.
visit everybody. You know, we get so many letters and cards. As you see, we have a mailbox out there. People let us know what we can do to make it better and more cheerful. But it seems like every one of them mentions it makes them smile, makes them laugh.
And the meaning of Christmas.
And I think that's the purpose. What do they say? A smile is worth a million. And I guess that's what it is. The hugs and kisses you see out here is just amazing to see family hug each other and the laughter of all these kids. They bring their pets and, you know, they hang out and they dance and sing it to the music, and a lot of pictures, a lot of people have gotten engaged here on the steps, and so it's a wonderful sight. It really is. We love it. I mean, it starts at 5:30 and it doesn't stop till 10 o'clock at night. I mean, it's just nonstop. So you know that this is getting everybody out and being together with their family, outdoors.
Well, we love everybody. Merry Christmas
and want to wish everybody great health
and stay safe.
Christmas and keep a smile on your face.
Yes, and hope. We'll get through it. We'll get through it together.
so many people here just wanted to know why some of these measures weren't taken sooner. LEX-18's Michael Burke talked to people in line today here to get their unemployment claims answered, and he continues our big story team coverage.
Well, they say good things come to those who wait. The people behind me have been waiting for a very long time, and many walked away with the good news they've been waiting to hear. The line stretched around the building and went on and on for several hundred yards, and that was just the April, May, and June line. Those who filed in March got their own line, and that wasn't any shorter. Thousands of Kentuckians have been without their much-needed unemployment insurance, some for more than 90 days. So they took advantage of this chance to meet with a representative in person. The process, while lengthy and frustrating, seems to be working, as many emerge from the Family and Health Services building in Frankfort with the news they so desperately needed to hear.
They're saying I'm getting all my money, and it should be there within a couple of days.
Really?
Yes, I'm very relieved.
The only thing that saved me was getting the stimulus, of course, and then I think I got my tax refund, but the good Lord above provided. That's all I can say. There was some days I was so frustrated. My anxiety was bad.
But now, relief.
Now it's way better.
That's got to be the best part of the job right there, to get to talk to people who have some good news after struggling for so many months. So while the process may be tedious at best, it certainly appears as if it's working a lot better than just calling in and waiting. In Lexington, Michael Burke, LEX-18 News.
Tucked away just outside of downtown Salyersville, up the hill from signs dotting Restaurant Row, is a place full of wonder, colorful lights, inflatable Christmas characters, even reindeer.
Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas.
And the jolly old elf himself. Year after year, good boys and girls gather on Candy Cane Lane to catch a glimpse and make a Christmas wish.
Old Santa will have something under the tree when you get up Christmas morning that you're going to like.
The beard is real, but this Santa's name is not Kris Kringle.
My name's Ben Gardner, also known as Santa Claus around here.
Ben Gardner and his family light up the gravel road every Christmas. While he doesn't ask for money, he receives even more in return.
It's a peaceful joy down in you that you can do something for other folks that they will enjoy getting out and doing.
However, unlike our last visit in 2017, Gardner is not donning the red suit this year.
Santa decided to stay safe at the North Pole this year because of the virus.
Gardner knows all too well the impact of COVID-19. He was exposed in August and tested positive.
Certainly don't want anyone else to experience the virus as I did. It's not something that you want. The main problem, I think, was dehydration, which landed me in the hospital.
He was hospitalized for 4 days, but has recovered. And at 87 years old, he feels blessed to be home for the holidays.
Considering everything, I'm still short of breath and tire easily, but apparently there's no long-term adverse effects.
For some kids in the mountains, Gardner may be the only representation of Santa they ever meet in person. In a year of virtual classes and social distancing, he decided to light up Candy Cane Lane once again to brighten even the darkest of winter days.
And this gives them a chance to get out, drive around, see the lights with their parents, and do it safely. I think that's the main reason for us to do it. It's something for the children.
When children arrive, Gardner stays socially distant and masked up to prevent the spread.
Where's your mailbox? Right there by you.
While he may not embody Santa Claus this Christmas, Gardner makes sure that every letter gets to the North Pole.
That's right. He hears them and sees them, and if they leave a letter, he'll answer it. If they leave a name and address.
Gardner hopes to bring joy and light to a dreary year. But keeping in mind the reason for the season, his prayer this Christmas goes beyond Salyersville. It's for all Americans to come together in a dark time.
I think there's just so much anger that I see, and I would just love to see us heal as a country and move forward. That's what I hope for. That's what I pray for.
With the arrival of a vaccine, Gardner is hopeful that next year he'll be able to don the red suit once again to pass out candy canes and good tidings. Before retiring for the night, he retrieved letters from the mailbox.
They'll go to the North Pole tonight.
Gardner noticed a stamp on the envelope, a small sign of belief, bringing a tear to the eye of Santa's helper.
It usually does.
Santa may be distant this year, but he is always watching. In Magoffin County, Conroy DeLuche, LEX-18 News.